public process that the board votes and then says, now we're gonna have public hearings, now we're gonna release the settlement agreement, now we're gonna come back and spend another couple $100,000, that is not a proper public process, in my opinion. And that is not exact, that is what the board has to weigh.
You know, the semantics are important, and we're not being asked to do this. We agreed to do this. We agreed to pursue a mediation, and you know, we agreed upon the settlement, and so no one is asking us to do this. You know, I'm sorry, but the time to you know, to talk about this was weeks ago. You know, we've already made the decision, and I want the public to have as much information and as much opportunity to see what's going on as possible. I know there's no doubt about that. You know, it was my suggestion during our executive session to utilize the budget emergency process because that provides us with the best opportunity to get as much information out in the public realm as possible. And you know, normally in a situation like this where a county or a municipal entity is trying to resolve a lawsuit or a legal issue, none of this is discussed publicly. You know, this is a somewhat, you know, already what we're doing is engaging in more of a public process than typically happens. So I want us to come up with a solution that maximizes the potential for public input, that allows us to get as much information out as possible, but that does so such that we are able to meet the deadline and the obligation that we have agreed to. And you know, and so if we can have both of those discussions on the 5th of July, have a budget emergency hearing, allow and, you know, get the terms of the settlement out now, give the public as much opportunity to absorb those as possible, and then make a formal decision on the agreement as well as the funding mechanism on the 5th. You know, I think that is the best that we can do.
One other point, just respect to timing, is it is my understanding that the closing process really can end as a formal, you know, signed agreement. You know, and Rhodes can testify to this remark, is what we're really trying to do in terms of sequential fashion is just make sure we're allowing enough time as possible. So for hypothetically speaking, if an agreement would be executed today, we could start the closing process and then have more, you know, information at the conclusion of which to come back. But if we're trying to do, you know, it all in one bite, which might be preferable for all, you know, watching, given the circumstances, given the moving parts, just, you know, the amount of time that, you know, different variables in play. You know, if we want to start the closing process so that we have as much time available to us on the back end, you would need to execute an agreement, at least agree to the terms of it with the signature, and then take your next steps after that. But it's really that piece that's going to dictate the closing and the final amount, and we want to have as much information as that, you know, as early in time. So just want to put that timing piece out there.
So, Brian, the settlement, in terms of the settlement agreement, are terms that we could actually post on our website.
Yes, it is, you know, after reaching out to the attorneys, because we are a public entity, the written terms of the settlement agreement can be made publicly accessible. They don't have any concerns with that. And if it would help the public have confidence better understand, they're respectful of those pressures on government. So we can make the document available, the written terms of the draft agreement, if that would help kind of fill in some blanks that might presently be existing.
And we could do that immediately.
Yes, it's, with their, affirmation, we can do that.
So the thing that I see on this, Mark, is, pretty much the way our prosecuting attorney talks about that is, we're gonna get hit if we do, and we're gonna get hit if we don't. And at the end of the day, we're paid to make decisions like this. I fully accept that responsibility, and I think that the amount of coverage, public coverage on this transaction, compared to other transactions that have involved legal and executive sessions, I think this one has quite a bit of visibility. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion that, subject to the immediate posting on Collin County's website of the agreement, that the county commissioners approve the agreement with David Siebelak and Chrisan Siebelak to purchase the land to resolve pending litigation and expand the public's access and use.
I second.
Second, questions, comments? In favor?
Aye.
No.